I was 32 when I finally accepted that my marriage to Cassie was truly over. It wasn't a choice I made lightly. But over time, it became obvious that the love we once shared was gone. We had been together for 6 years, meeting in college as young sweethearts in our early 20s. Cassie was smart, funny, and stunning, the kind of woman who turned heads wherever she went. I was just an ordinary guy, and part of me always knew she was out of my league. But in the beginning we clicked. Everything felt right. We traveled together, laughed, and dreamed about the future. We bought a small house outside Denver, got a dog, and imagined having kids someday. Over the years, though, things changed. The laughter grew rare. The silences felt heavy, and arguments started piling up. At first, they were small things. Dishes left in the sink, money, my long hours working as a civil engineer. Nothing huge, nothing impossible to fix. But slowly it became a pattern. Every fight ended the same way. Her throwing out the word divorce as if it were a solution. Maybe we should just get divorced, she'd say. Maybe I married the wrong person if this is how it's going to be. What's the point of staying married? First I panicked. I begged, apologized, tried to make things right. I even went to therapy alone, hoping that if I changed, she'd stop pushing me away. But no matter what I did, the result was always the same. She'd still mention divorce. Eventually I realized something. She wasn't trying to save the marriage. She was using the threat of divorce to control me, to punish me. The breaking point came about 4 months ago. I returned home late from a job site 2 hours away, exhausted. I walked into the living room, and there she was, sitting with her arms crossed. "I'm done," she said coldly. "I want a divorce." I didn't respond. I walked past her to our bedroom and started packing a bag. She followed, confused. "What are you doing?" she asked. "You said you wanted a divorce, and now I'm agreeing with you," I replied calmly. Her face changed. "No, I didn't mean now. I was just upset. But I knew better. Cassie, you've said that word so many times. I think you meant it every time. You just didn't think I'd actually agree." I left that night, rented a small apartment, and took the dog with me. A week later she called, texted, cried, saying I was abandoning the marriage, that she was just emotional. I didn't respond for 3 months. Focused on myself, my work, my peace. I started hiking again, went to the gym, even found a new therapist who didn't try to convince me to save a marriage that wasn't mine to fix. Then she asked to meet. I agreed. We met at a coffee shop near our old house. She looked beautiful but worn, like someone who hadn't been sleeping. "I've been thinking," she said softly. "I was wrong. Pushed you away. I thought you'd never really leave, but I miss you. I want to fix this." She seemed sincere, tearful, vulnerable. For a moment, I almost believed her. Almost. But then my gut told me something was off. So I did something I hadn't done until then. I logged into our shared iCloud account. We'd never disconnected it after separating. All her texts and photos had been backing up there. I scrolled through her messages. I shouldn't have, but I did. And there it was, his name, Eli. Her coworker. I remembered her mentioning him before, saying he was annoying. But their texts told a different story. They were intimate, familiar. The affair had started 8 months before I left. There were messages about hotels, secret weekends together, even photos. They called me the boring husband and joked about how clueless I was. One text from Eli came the night I left. "Told you he wouldn't stay gone long. Let him pout, he'll crawl back." Cassie replied, "He always does. He's too scared to be alone." I wasn't scared to be alone anymore. I hadn't gone back, but that's when it truly hit me. All the divorce threats, the cold silences, they weren't just manipulation. They were guilt projection. She'd been testing me, seeing how far she could push, how much she could get away with. When I met her at the coffee shop, she didn't know I knew. I let her cry, apologize, pour out her heart. And when she asked, "Do you think we can try again?" Smiled. "I already did try," I said, then added, "while you were with Eli." Her face fell. Panic replaced tears. I showed her the messages, the photos, everything. Her composure crumbled. "I didn't mean for it to go that far," she started. But I cut her off. "You only ended things with him after I left. You never expected me to stay gone, but I did. And I will." I stood, left a $5 bill on the table, and walked out. That night she called, screaming, crying, begging. She left voicemails, promising anything for another chance. But I was done. Not because of the affair, but because I had spent years begging for us to work. She weaponized my love, using divorce threats to control me until all I could see when I looked at her was the idea of leaving. Now she was getting what she had always threatened. For the first time in years I felt free. I didn't cry, yell, or even feel anger. Just emptiness followed by relief. It was like my soul had been clenched for years, and finally it was at peace. I went home, sat on the floor with my dog Milo, a shepherd mix who had been with me through every rough night, every fight that left me sleeping on the couch. He laid his head in my lap like he knew what had happened. Maybe he did. Over the next few weeks, I blocked her everywhere, changed my number, set up mail forwarding, and filed for divorce myself. No lawyers. No desire for money or the house. Just freedom. That broke her. She tried through friends, emails, even showing up at my work crying in the parking lot until security made her leave. My boss asked, "Are you sure she's not dangerous?" I didn't know how to answer. She wasn't physically dangerous, but emotional manipulation can slowly eat you alive. When someone loses control over their manipulations, they unravel. Later, I learned from a mutual friend that Eli dumped her soon after I left. Apparently, she told him I was emotionally abusive, cold, controlling. I laughed, not because it was funny but because it was so ironic. Everything she accused me of was really just a reflection of her own actions. That same friend said she started therapy for real, not blaming a spouse or checking boxes, but working on herself. I don't wish her harm. I hope she heals, but not with me. A few nights ago, I went on my first real date since everything ended. Her name was Natalie. She's a nurse, funny, warm, genuine. We sat in a tiny Thai restaurant downtown. I told her, "Full disclosure, I'm divorced. Not recent, but still healing." She smiled. "I'm divorced too. Looks like we both have some history." And for the first time in years I felt truly seen. Not judged, not measured, just seen. I still catch myself flinching or hesitating to speak, conditioned by years of emotional punishment. But every day feels easier. Every day feels less like surviving a war and more like simply living. To anyone who has been threatened with divorce like a weapon, always one step away from being discarded, hear this. You are not unlovable. You are not weak for staying, but you are strong if you choose to walk away. I used to think love meant holding on no matter what. But real love, isn't afraid of communication. It doesn't punish or manipulate. Real love feels safe. And that's all I want now. Peace, not fireworks.